and we are ready to receive the report of Bishop's Partners in Mission. And now I invite Dilip Abhayesakara, the field coordinator, and Ashley Gish from the campaign of the Imagine No Malaria. Would you please welcome them?
Thank you, Bishop. Friends in Christ, my name is Dilip Abhayesakara. I'm serving the conference as the field coordinator for Bishop's Partners in Mission. Bishop's Partners in Mission has two aims. One is to raise funds for the campaign to fight malaria, Imagine No Malaria. The second is to reduce the debt that Mission Central has so that it can be more effective in its ministries. Let's consider one at a time. Imagine No Malaria is the United Methodist Church's extraordinary response to raise $75 million to eradicate malaria. The Susquehanna Conference committed to raise $1 million towards this goal. You will hear a global perspective from our guest speaker today, but you might be wondering what 11 youth are doing here. 9 of them are carrying letter signs. I will give you a perspective of the meaning of that as the presentation unfolds. We are very fortunate to have with us Ashley Gish. She is the Assistant Director of Imagine No Malaria, and she has traveled here all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, to share with us what's happening worldwide and the impact of your generous giving. It was Ashley, when I was appointed as field coordinator for Bishop's Partners in Mission, it was Ashley who came and trained me, and it was Ashley who has kept in constant touch, making sure I get the encouragement, the guidance, and the resources we need at the Susquehanna Conference to make Bishop's Partners in Mission a success. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Assistant Director of Imagine No Malaria, Ashley Gish.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Thank you, Dilip. It's so great to be here with you today in Susquehanna. I have loved being here and getting to meet so many folks, as I've been also present at the United Methodist Communications table. And I do say I don't know if it was the best idea or the worst idea to send a pregnant lady to the chocolate capital of the world. But I'm making do, and I think I've probably eaten my weight in chocolate in the past 2 days, but it's been a wonderful time, and I'm so glad to be here. As Assistant Director of Imagine No Malaria, I have the incredible gift of working with wonderful team of field coordinators like Dilip, as well as our small but mighty team in Nashville, Tennessee. And today I wanted to bring a video to you, a video of our team in Nashville. We sat down and talked about what makes us grateful for the work that we do with Imagine No Malaria. And so much of that is you, our supporters, who are there and present and ready to support Imagine No Malaria. So please enjoy this video as a token of our support.
I really just wanted to say thank you to the supporters of Imagine No Malaria. We've really been able to do some really incredible work. What excites me about this initiative of the United Methodist Church is that it's really been one of those places where we have seen a really clear need, and together we have rolled our sleeves up and decided to make a difference.
We had a mom contact me, and her daughter, rather than having a birthday party, wanted to do a fundraiser for Imagine No Malaria. Every birthday, she takes that opportunity to have kind of a fundraiser event and sends all of that money straight to us. So those kind of things really hit home for me, and it makes it all worthwhile.
People of our church heard the deadly buzz of the mosquito, and we said enough. We've responded with our hearts, we've responded with our work, We've responded with our generosity and our creativity. We are acting like disciples of Jesus Christ, and we are bringing transforming healing and hope to and with and for our neighbors.
The money that has been donated to Imagine No Malaria has been used to provide bed nets. It's been used to drain standing water that breeds mosquitoes. It's helped provide infrastructures and medical centers so that they can achieve that help.
I got to go to a family's home and help them hang their nets. There I met a little boy who met us at the doorway and was a little suspicious about us. As he saw his mom warm up to us, he decided that we might be worth trusting. We got to pray with his family and hang nets above their beds and really celebrate the work that we were doing together. And as we were leaving, the community health volunteer who was with us, she leaned over to me and she said, "Torai, his name, do you know what it means?" And she told me that his name means speak up. And every day I think of that picture of Torai that I have, who is now living and thriving because of a simple net above his bed, because he had access to care.
Malaria is preventable,
Treatable,
And beatable.
So let's finish the job.
And we can finish this together.
So our team never loses sight of the fact that we are able to have such an incredible impact through our work on malaria because of you, because of each one of you sitting here who works hard to support this effort. And I want to update you about what we've done together. So we recently received some new program numbers from our partners at Global Ministries as well as the Global Fund, and we have some brand new numbers. I want to tell you today that we have distributed over 4 million insecticide-treated mosquito nets. Pretty impressive. We have renovated 61 facilities. We have treated 2.7 million people for malaria. We have protected over 175,000 buildings, schools, homes, churches, other public buildings with indoor residual spraying. And we have trained thousands of community health workers and volunteers to do the work of prevention, treatment, education, and communication about malaria. This is incredible work that we've done together. But more importantly, what impact has that work had? We also receive every year a report from the World Health Organization about the latest global malaria statistics. And I think you'll be pretty proud of what we've recently heard. Since we began this effort that we call Imagine No Malaria, global malaria mortality rates have fallen by an estimated 60%. Because of global efforts to fight malaria, including ours, it is estimated that 6.6 million deaths from malaria have been averted since the year 2000. In the past decade, this is one that I found fascinating. Life expectancy in sub-Saharan Africa has increased by 9.4 years. 1.2 years of which, absolutely. And 1.2 years of that is directly attributable to those reductions in malaria mortality. What that really means is that children who are born today are living almost a decade longer than children born just 10 years ago. That's incredible. But we have to remember that 395,000 people still die needlessly of a preventable and treatable disease every year. So we've got work to do. When I think of the work that we still have to be done, I think of this photo. This is one of the first photos that I saw when I started my work with Imagine No Malaria, and I was told the story behind it. This is a gravedigger walking through the children's section of a cemetery in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. If you look closely, you can see some of the crosses have names and dates. Some of these children didn't even make it to their first birthday. But you'll also see some crosses that are unmarked. We know in this community that 1 in 5 children will not make it to their 5th birthday, primarily because of malaria. And we also know that some families in this community decide to wait until the child's 5th birthday to give them their formal family name. They call them by nicknames and loving pet names, but no formal name. So when I see this photo and I see those unmarked graves, I think about children who never reached their 5th birthday. They never reached their first day of school. They never got so much as a name. And I look at this photo and I know that we must do better. We are called to do better. We are called to see a world who would refuse to see children die from a preventable and treatable disease when we can do so much about it. And so the next photo you heard me talk about in the video briefly, this photo means so much to me because when I was in Zimbabwe and got to meet this little boy, Torai, he was just such a delight. He was so shy and nervous around us until we started making goofy faces and handed him a bracelet to try on, and he really warmed up to us. And in that moment when the community health worker leaned over and told me that his name meant speak up, I immediately flashed back to the last photo and I thought about those children who never had a voice, who never had a name. But children like Torai now do. Children like Torai with big smiles and big names will have the opportunity to live into their names, to live into their voices. And I look at this photo every day and I remember that Torai is safe, Torai has a name, and that millions of children like him are protected from this preventable and treatable disease because of each of you, because our church stood up and took the challenge to do something unprecedented and extraordinary. So I can't thank you enough for the work that you have done and that you continue to do to support this effort. I hope that you will continue to feel encouraged, and if at any point you start to feel discouraged or like maybe you can't do anything to change this problem, I want you to think of this African proverb. If you think you're too small to make a big difference, imagine sleeping in a closed room with a mosquito. I have loved being here with you. I will turn it back over to your wonderful field coordinator, Dilip. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley. Yes, Ashley told us about the tremendous impact you are having by your generosity. And this is a work of the United Methodist Church as a whole. It's extraordinary effort to wipe out malaria, 91% of which occurs in sub-Saharan Africa in the world. Ashley also shared with you some numbers, and I want to reinforce those numbers in the next slide, because she mentioned there are 4 million insecticide-treated bed nets that have been distributed that are protecting families, giving them a chance against the mosquitoes. 2.7 million people treated. 60% reduction in the global mortality rates. And listen to this. When we started this Imagine No Malaria in 2008, every 30 seconds a child died of malaria. As a result of the generosity of the people of the United Methodist Church as well as our global partners, now it is every 2 minutes. You'll notice that our young people who've been standing here, every 2 minutes one of them sat down. And that marks the demise of the future and the hope of Africa and all the parts of the world that are ravaged by this deadly disease. Let's not tolerate that. We have been doing great work, but we have more to do. In the next slide, we see that we are called not just to raise funds, but to understand why we are raising those funds. We are raising those funds because we are providing hope. Every time a child dies, that child's future has been erased, as if someone took a giant eraser and wiped off the timeline of history that they would have affected. You are having a part in reversing that. In the next slide, we go to Mission Central, an equally important partner in our work. What we are trying to do is raise $1 million to help them get rid of their debts so that they can put all their resources more effectively into their work of providing God's resources for human need. Many of you have visited Mission Central. You know how they provide materials, know-how, education, mission support. But this was particularly struck home to me in 2004 when a giant tsunami hit my native country, Sri Lanka, little island off the southern tip of India. 35,000 people perished. But Mission Central was among those partners in the international effort that provided boots on the ground in terms of materials and resources and life-saving help for people. It does make an impact locally, nationally, regionally, and around the world. How has your money been raised? I'm showing on the slide now what each of the 7 districts of the Susquehanna Conference have raised from 2013 till the end of March of this year. I want to thank you. Many of you have given sacrificially. I know some people have been enormously generous, but I just want you to know what those monies are. And then in the next slide, we will see the combined total at $572,000. $572,000. Now that's split with Imagine No Malaria and Mission Central. So it's about $286,000 each. When you consider that for $10 you can buy a bed net or provide 2 anti-malaria treatments, if $286,000 has gone to Imagine No Malaria, it is like saying we have saved 28,600 people's lives at $10 a life. That is the population of Williamsport. But there is much more to be done. And also, we have reduced the debt that Mission Central has by $286,000 and thereby wiped out the interest payments they would have paid. Here you see on the screen some ideas, and all of these have been tried by churches in the Susquehanna Conference. If you are wondering, what can we do? How can we raise funds? I'm sharing these so that you can get some ideas. Everyone should have received the slide which says Bishop's Partners in Mission. This is not the slide, this is the new brochure that's out. And we have plenty more in the back at the display table for Bishop's Partners in Mission. Please stop and get some more to share with your church. In the next slide, there are some more ideas. And moving on, more ideas. And moving on, I want you to join with me in imagining. My friends, brothers and sisters in Christ, let's imagine together what a world without malaria could be. Imagine no malaria. Imagine Mission Central with no debt, so it can do its marvelous work unhindered by debt. And imagine what we can do together, for we are better together, aren't we? Aren't we? Aren't we? Yes, we can do it, for God is able to do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. For this is the work of God. And so I ask you to continue to love not with words or tongues, but with actions and in truth, as you have done. Let us rev it up. Let us finish strong. Let us truly be God's instruments, His hand and His feet, His voice. And when we can't go to Africa, we can send our dollars there. When we can't go to another part of the world, we can send it through Mission Center. For we are God's voice, God's heart, God's hands, God's feet. Thank you for all you do. God bless you. Let's continue our work.
Stay here, stay here, stay here, stay here.